Today, we're going to make a very simple automation where when someone registers for a webinar, we want to send an automated message to them saying, hey, thank you for registering. Here's the Zoom link for this webinar. So if you see here, this is the actual page we created for this, one of our clients of ours. It's called Highland Park Ridley. It's a 77-unit property. And then when they come, the potential investors come to this page, they go down, they can either sign up for the webinar here, or the actual webinar is down here too. So there are multiple call to actions here. So if I click on sign up for the webinar, they go to this form to sign up. They can put a first name, last name, email, phone number. And then there are like multiple dates. Now the only one date is left. So we took out other dates and then say, hey, I want to attend this webinar on February 25th at 8 p.m. And then they click on register now. So once they click on register now, we want an automated email to go to the email where they say, hey, thank you for registering. This is the Zoom link. So that's what we're going to set up today. So I'm going to the client's account and then click on automation. So these are all our pre-built automations already there in the system, but I'm going to create an automation specifically for this webinar, right? And then I'm going to create a folder first so that I can organize all the automations related to the webinar. So I'm going to say webinar automations. Once I create it, let's go into the folder and then create the first workflow. Workflow and automations are basically the same. And I'm going to click start from scratch because this is not a complicated automation. I don't have to copy from anywhere. And then the first thing we always do is what is a trigger for this automation? What happens when someone registers? Like what action does someone has to take to trigger this automation? So here it's a form, right? So they are submitting a registration form. So I'm going to say form submitted. And then I have to say which form. So form is, these are the various forms we have built for this client, but the form is webinar registration form, right? So that is the trigger. The form, when a form is submitted, form is webinar registration, I'm going to save the trigger. What do you want to happen first, right? I'm going to say first tag, because I always want to add a tag for that specific contact so that I know if I want to pull up, hey, who are the people who are registered for this webinar, I need to pull up easily, right? I'm going to say add contact tag, and then there is already a tag we created called Highland Park Webinar. If not, I'll say add a new tag and whatever tag I want to create. So I'm going to say Highland Park Webinar and save action. So that's the first thing happens when someone submits a form, their name gets tagged as Highland Park Webinar. Then the thing I want to do is create, send an email, right? So I just go and type email, and there is a send email. And then from name, email address, etc. I'm going to put the client's from name or the company name for now. So this from name, from email, everything can be auto-populated. My client hasn't gotten the subdomain yet, email domain yet. Once they get it, then we'll auto-populate with a professional looking name. For now, I'm going to say from email. The important thing is Google and Yahoo don't want a from email, which is not like you cannot put a Gmail or Yahoo mail. They want a professional address. For now, I'm going to say okay, and then subject. Subject you want to personalize. So I'm going to say, because whatever contact, who registers it, I'm going to first put their first name. So if it is John, it's going to say, hey, John, in the subject line. They say, oh, someone is actually addressing to me. John. And say webinar link inside. Okay. And then you can either select a templated email. If you had gone to marketing email templates and designed an email, they can do that. That's what I recommend most of the time because you can do a lot of stuff, professional registration stuff. But here I'm going to just, for the demonstration purposes, I'm going to say, hi. Again, I'm going to include his name or whoever is registering, right? Contact, first name. So it's going to say, hi, John, hi, Mary, whatever the name of the person is. And then I'm going to put a message for them. I already typed out this message. Hi, whoever. Thank you for registering for a webinar on Sunday, February 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's EST. We're excited to share with you why Highland Park deal is works and invite you to invest along with us. We look forward to seeing that. Zoom link is below. And I'm going to put a Zoom link here. Oh, sorry. Copy link. You can either put the whole link, or you can say click here and then highlight it and then put a link, add link here. Okay, you can add a link like this and then open it. So both of them will work. Click here, or you can put the whole link. Click here looks more better, so I'm going to delete this one and then leave it there. Okay, I'm going to say click here to join, right? And then we look forward to seeing you. I'm not going to put my client's names because I don't want to, for the privacy. I'll update it later. I'm going to say save action, right? So what happens? They submit the form, a tag is added, an email is sent, and you can do a lot of. I'm going to save this as well, but you can do a lot of other things here too. For example, you can add an SMS notification if you want. Send an SMS to so the who registered also not only gets an email, get an SMS to their phone number as long as you capture their phone number in the form, right? Or you can also send what you call an internal notification. Say you want to know when someone registers, right? So you can either get an email notification like in the app, or an SMS notification for the actual user or the person who's running the webinar. So you can do those things as well. So this is a very simple automation. I just want to show you guys quickly. The other thing to remember is this is always in the draft mode, right? I'm going to change the name so that we know what exactly is happening. So I'm going to say webinar registration. And then here I can actually say what, so instead of people don't have to click on it, they can just look at the workflow and see what happens. So I'm going to say add Highland Park webinar tag. So each of those actions, you can say email to client with link. So when you look at this, you know that what exactly is happening. Here I can say, instead of name, I'd say webinar form submitted. So that helps us, okay, this is what happens. Otherwise I have to click inside and go inside. And it's always in the draft mode. So if you want to publish it, you have to publish it here. We always recommend testing the workflow. It's by selecting someone. I usually select myself and test it. And there is other things you can do is you can go to settings. For example, if a form can be submitted by multiple times, right? If you have multiple webinars and someone is going to submit again and again, so you can allow re-entry. Otherwise, it will allow only one time the person go through this automation. Here, I'm going to allow re-entry just in case. Sometimes they forget, they register for the first webinar, they don't register for the second webinar, they come back and register for the second webinar. So I'm going to allow re-entry here. Then other things are self-explanatory. So this is a quick overview of how to develop a very simple automation in the system. There are a lot of options. When you go in there, you can actually see